I was a cloud. One day I existed, simply being without any thoughts. I floated in the sky, observing as the earth formed, and many beings emerged upon it. Hovering in the sky, I watched over the earth and the myriad of beings living upon it. Some days, the wind would carry me, and I found joy in drifting around, observing the existence on the earth. Occasionally, the waters residing on the land would rise up, enveloping me, and I would become a water cloud, drifting around propelled by the force of the wind. At times, the sun in the sky would turn my entire being into fluffy white wisps, and the wind would shape me into various forms. I was always a fluffy, white being capable of transformation, and I felt content and happy. When the sun and the wind made me feel good, I loved them. When they made me feel unhappy, I resented them. Occasionally, I even envied and felt jealous of the power held by the sun and the wind. Some days, the waters residing on the land would gently reach out to me, filling my being, and I would become a misty water cloud, drifting around pushed by the force of the wind. Sometimes, when the gentle breeze took me on journeys, I felt happy witnessing the beauty of the beings on the earth. When I was happy, my laughter manifested as gentle raindrops falling softly to the ground. The beings on the earth, welcoming the gentle raindrops, adorned themselves, cleaned themselves, and sang songs of joy. But sometimes, the strong winds, despite my unwillingness, would drag me around, and exhausted, I would pour out all the water droplets that accompanied me onto the land. I saw that the water droplets I poured out in exhaustion could sometimes kill or cause suffering to the many beings on the land. It pained me deeply. Seeing the beings on the land suffer because I couldn't protect the water droplets due to my exhaustion filled me with profound remorse. The many beings living on the land appeared and then departed with death on some days. I had to witness their departure, and even though it pained me greatly, I understood that I, as an entity, had to acknowledge their deaths. Thus, I felt deeply saddened. So I lived, sometimes happy, sometimes unhappy, touching the lives of the sun, the wind, the water, the earth, and the beings residing on it, experiencing moments of joy and moments of sorrow. I didn't like the painful unhappiness. If the beings on the land were unhappy, I became unhappy too, and I began to wish for nothing but the happiness of the beings on the land. I loved the beings on the land, and I wished for their eternal happiness, but I realized I couldn't do anything about it. I started to contemplate deeply. Who created me like this? Who created the sun? Why are you there? How did you come to possess flames on your body? Why do you live? Who created the wind? Who created the beloved land and the beings on it? Even when I asked everyone in the earth, they all said they didn't know. From then on, I started feeling lonely, extremely lonely. I realized I should have had parents. I understood that we all had forgotten our parents. We were all born because of parents, but we all forgot them, which made me feel incredibly lonely and sad. So every day I cried, desperately longing for my parents, searching for my mother and father. I cried because I wanted to know why I was born. I cried because I wanted to know why I existed. I cried because I was too lonely being alone. I cried, fervently calling out for my parents to come and take me away. While crying, I, for the first time since my birth, shifted my gaze from the land, where I had always stayed, to the sky, upward, downward, forward, backward, left, and right. That was when I first realized that I lived in the sky. I realized that the sun I loved and hated, the wind I liked and disliked, and the land I cherished all existed in the sky. The stars I adored also resided in the sky. We all lived in one sky, and that's when I understood. The sky was our parent, our eternal life. Our parent, the sky, was always with us, taking care of us. But we only looked at each other, thinking you and I were different. I knew who my parent was, but even though I lived within my parent, I didn't love my parent. I continued to exist as a cloud, floating through the sky and observing the world. Our parent, the sky, simply watched over me, regardless of what I did or who I was. Though tired of the wandering life, I was too lazy to change my habits. But one day, an angel visited me in my dream and spoke to me. Now, instead of wandering as a nomadic cloud seeking elusive happiness, it was time to return to the home where my parent awaited. Following the angel's guidance, I shed my nature and body as a wandering cloud, and I became one with the sky. Only then did I understand that our parents are eternal life, love, and joy. I became the eternal happy me, the joyful me. As the happy me, I looked back at the earth. I conveyed a message to all the beings on the land. We are all siblings. It's time to return to the warm home our parent awaits. Finally, I found peace and happiness in the eternal embrace of the sky, my true home.